Live from Littlejohn Coliseum here on the campus of Clemson University in Clemson, South Carolina, ACC Network Extra presents men's basketball action. Today as the homestanding Clemson Tigers take on the Mercer Bears. And hi everybody, I'm Don Munson along with Bob Mahalik. We welcome you into Littlejohn Coliseum. All right, Mercer and Clemson. Folks may say, Bob, all right, Clemson has the advantage in this. Mercer's not afraid to play an ACC team.
Oh, not at all. They live for this type of stuff. They're coached by Big Game Bob. Coach Hoffman has beaten 10 Power Conference teams in his tenure here at Mercer, including 3 straight against the ACC, most notable of which was that Cinderella win, that upset over Duke back in 2014. When he goes out and recruits players to come to Mercer, he tells them, we're going to play the big boys. We expect to beat the big boys, and that's what the Mercer Bears expect tonight. They expect not just to compete, but to beat the Tigers.
Well, they will come out and compete against Clemson, no doubt about it. All right, when we talk about Mercer, one of the players we need to talk about, Rion Holland.
He is a shooter, and then he'll shoot some more, and shoot some more. He is a transfer who came in this year, fit right in, scored 24 in his first game, hasn't slowed down, averaging around 17, 18 points a game. He shoots the ball about 15 times a game. Now, he sat out in their previous contest a couple of nights ago just to rest up, but he's completely healthy. He's ready to go, and I don't think the Tigers really have faced a threat like him off the dribble, off the pass. He is a very good shooter, and he is unafraid.
Well, bodies have been limited for the Clemson Tigers this year, but one of the guys that has consistently been in the starting lineup has been Dante Grantham.
How about that? Dante Grantham shows up here on campus 3 years ago, one of the primetime recruits the Tigers have had really in the past 10 years, and he starts right away, hasn't been out of the lineup since. Today, he makes his 69th straight start for the Clemson Tigers. Very versatile player, averaging around 10 points a game. He's got a good three-point shot, won a big game for them earlier here on campus. He can take it inside as well. Very versatile player, and when he plays with confidence, he's as good as anybody on the floor.
Well, and Grantham could be a big guy on the boards as well for Clemson this afternoon, averaging 5.7 rebounds per contest. Clemson leads the overall series with Mercer. They've won 6. Mercer's won 4. Clemson's won the 6th in a row, though, in this series. We'll come back, opening tip, and more as we continue on here on ACC Network Extra. Back in Littlejohn Coliseum, everybody's settling in, getting set for the tap. Here to start this one between Clemson and Mercer. Starting lineups for the Mercer Bears look like this. Jordan Strawberry, Holland, who we of course mentioned in the open, Rivers, Jelks, and Ringer. And then for the Clemson Tigers, they'll come at you like this. Shelton Mitchell getting his 2nd start of the year, had a meniscus tear that held him out the first couple of games. Holmes, who just crested the 1,000-point mark in his career as a scorer. Blossom gained the leading scorer, Grantham and Jete for Brad Brownell's team. Mercer head coach, Bob Hoffman. Bob now in his 9th season at Mercer. As my broadcast partner, Bob Mahalik. Big game, Bob. I like it. I like the moniker.
Yeah, his last big win, almost exactly a year ago against Arkansas in overtime.
And for the Clemson Tigers, their program, led by that man with his back to you in the gray suit, Brad Brownell. 7th season here at Clemson. Settling into the newly renovated Littlejohn Coliseum. We'll have a tour of that, as a matter of fact, at halftime.
We'll see contrasting styles here tonight. Clemson will come out, man-to-man all over the place. Mercer will sit back in his zone.
So Ringer and Jete will tip it off. Jete wins it, and we're underway. Mercer will drop back. Looks like they're going to show a little zone, a little 2-3 zone pressure here to open things up. Grantham, Mitchell on the wing, back outside to Grantham. Now here is Holmes. Here's Grantham out front for 3. It's long, no good off the rim. Long rebound comes into the hands of Shelton Mitchell. Clemson will reset. Mitchell out front tries the 3 and buries it.
Mitchell making a 2nd start for the Tigers. In the previous game against Coppin, he scored all his points driving to the basket. Tonight showing the outside range as well, immediately making his first 3.
That's only his 2nd made 3-pointer of the year, as a matter of fact. He's now 2 of 5 outside the arc. Clemson opens up in man-to-man. Feed it off on the wing. Strawberry Working against Mitchell. Feeds it inside. Jelks trying to go across the lane. Ball knocked away, but in the waiting hands of Holland, and he'll bury the three off the wing.
And you notice not 1 second of hesitation. When the ball got to Holland, he was open. That thing was launched right away. Terrific release for Holland.
3-3 game here early on. Still the zone pressure here for Mercer. Holmes on the left wing goes baseline. Blossom Game will drive. Dump it Grantham. Quick ball movement. Mitchell inside. Blossom Game powers up the reverse. No. Rebounded inside. Ringer. Strawberry into the forecourt. Son of Darrell. Major League Baseball player. Had a brother, of course, that played at Maryland as well.
Yeah, came across country. Played out in Southern California in high school. Came across Mercer. And a little more laid-back environment. Good player.
7 on the shot clock. Feed it off. Partially blocked by Blossom Game and pulled down by Grantham. Here comes Clemson in transition. Mitchell. Grantham drives it. Baseline comes out front to Mitchell. Holmes will fire the three off the wing. Everything's been outside the arc so far in a 6-3 lead for Clemson.
Great adjustment by Holmes, too. Looked like the shot was going to be blocked. He gave a little extra half-second of hang time and then knocked it down. Great adjustment for a young man who scored his 1,000th career college basketball point against Coppin State a couple of nights ago and was honored before the game. So Avery Holmes gets a souvenir basketball, then hits a three.
Rivers out front. Strawberry against 6 in the shot clock. Feed it off out front. Holland trying to drive, knock loose. Holmes with the steal. Numbers the other way. Blossom Game drives, and he's going to be guilty of a charge.
Dipped the shoulder at the very last second. Strawberry unafraid, giving up about a good 7 inches and 30 pounds to Blossom Game, but he holds his position along the baseline, draws the offensive foul. Good right to the very end, and watch little dip right there by number 5, Geron, and they'll call that all the time.
Johnson and Naganga will check in for Mercer. Clemson going to show a little full court pressure here. See if they actually apply it or back at it. Mercer going to throw right over top of it. Doesn't matter. Strawberry in the forecourt. Holland crossover. Back outside Strawberry at 15 on the shot clock. Mitchell picks up Strawberries. He takes it to the wing. Johnson. Holland out front. Long three. Yes, sir.
From the paw. And he gives a look, a steely look to his bench like, here we go, fellas. And that's what Holland does for this team. He is unafraid, as we mentioned. He'll shoot from anywhere, and he could really spark a program. Check it out. I think he's got 1 foot on the orange.
What's this thing?
He's got both feet in the orange.
Wow.
That's a 4-pointer. Wow.
25th three-pointer of the year for Rion Holland.
And if he starts hot, look out. Because as we mentioned, he may shoot the ball 30 times a game if he finds a rhythm.
6-6 game. 16:30 to go here first half. Mitchell. Avery Holmes, he'll fire the three, and he'll can his second.
How about the guard play in this one so far?
Makes you wonder if there's going to be any made twos so far. You see Clemson 3 of 4 outside the arc. Mercer 2 of 3. Strawberry will hand it off to Holland. Johnson, little weave out front, right back to Strawberry. Holland brings it to the top of the key, turns it to the high post. Strawberry out front, 3 ball. Long, no good. Jete cleans the boards. His first rebound of the contest. Mitchell. Holmes, back outside to Mitchell. Blossom Game backs his man in, a little jump hook, no good in the lane, but he drew the foul. He'll go to the line to shoot a pair here.
I think that's a pretty good matchup. Blossom Game working on Rivers.
So everything so far has been outside the arc. Avery Holmes has rained down 2, and Clemson with a 3-point lead, 9-6 on Mercer. Back back here at Littlejohn Coliseum along with Bubba Hollick. I'm Don Munson. 9-6. The homestanding Clemson Tigers the lead on the Bears, but Rion Holland has been as advertised.
You know, Holland's a terrific shooter, as we have noted. You know, he was originally recruited by Wichita State. Greg Marshall, who has some ties, of course, here to the Carolinas, former Winthrop coach. Went to Wichita State, was unhappy there, then goes to Iowa to play junior college, leads his junior college team deep into the postseason, and then finds his way to Georgia, back in the Southeast where he belongs, and you can see early on, we've played 4 minutes. Holland looks like an ACC caliber player.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, he is that good.
That's just kind of basketball, though, the depth of basketball across the country right now. It seems like every team has got a guy or two that can play, as Blossom Game misses a pair from the free throw line. Still 9-6, Clemson with a 3-point lead.
That was a strength for the Tigers. Better foul shooting team than they have been in the previous 5 or 6.
No doubt about it. And Clemson coming into this afternoon's action shooting better than 75% from the line. There's an outside shot miss, rebounded. Gabe DeVoe in the ball game for Clemson. Brings it into the forecourt.
And you may wonder why Rivers, basically a forward center shooting a 3. He's a good 3-point shooter. Scored 30 in the previous game, so that wasn't out of Rivers' range.
Blossom Game misses a 3. Here's Grantham though for 3, and still everything point-wise on a board here in Littlejohn Coliseum has been outside the arc, and it's 12-6 Clemson.
You know, it was exam week here at Clemson. They pretty much had a week off, haven't played a basketball game in 6 days. You thought maybe they'd show up a little bit sluggish or a little bit cold. Instead, everyone's fired up from outside the arc.
Holland, pressured by DeVoe, takes it baseline, goes after Blossom Game now. Strawberry the outside 3. Of course. Why not? Here's Grantham driving it left side of the hoop and 1. 3-point play the Naismith way.
We're still going to have a 3-point play, correct? But that's Grantham running the floor, beating the defender up the floor, the transition game. Usually you are better in the transition when you beat your teammates and the opponent up the floor. Grantham did just that, took a good angle, gets the basket, and we've already seen within that last minute there Grantham's game. He could step outside, hit it from 3-point land, but he could also run the floor very well.
Grantham shooting better than 87% from the line, buries a free throw.
Technically, still all 3-point plays.
15-9. How about Grantham? 6'8". He's one of those 6'8 guys, Bob, that can put it on the floor for you as well.
Well, it's an NBA caliber type of move that Jerron Blossom Game has as well.
Here's Strawberry working it against Holmes. Holmes just inside the jersey. Jelks left open for the outside 3. Off the back of the rim, no. Holmes got a hand on it, but just deflects it off the Holland. He'll drive, look to get it inside. Grantham knocked away. Loose ball in the paint. Everybody goes to the floor. Are they going to call a jump ball? And if they do, alternate possession should give it back to Mercer. I didn't see anybody for Clemson actually come over there and tie him up. I thought for a second we were going to get a 3-second lane violation.
Thought that was going to be the call, but it goes in favor of the Bears. And you know, this is a very complicated offense for Mercer. Coach Hoffman has around 80 or so plays in his arsenal, which is rather peculiar for a basketball team. Sounds like one of those run-and-gun football teams, but instead there are a lot of plays here. And Holland, in his junior college, played in a system that had a bunch of plays that were called. So he fits right in with a little bit of a complicated offense with a lot of movement.
Holland loses it, goes to the floor. Bounce pass, go inside, and the shot no good. Foul on Jete. How about from his rump? Holland able to find the open man.
Looked like Jete certainly had the height advantage and certainly had defensive position. We'll see here if he nudges him with the hip, because it didn't appear that he got him on the arm. Beautiful pass.
So Stefan Jelks will go to the line to shoot a pair.
Not a whole lot of contact there.
Jelks 14 of 16 coming into this afternoon's action from the line. Look at 15 of 17. Lewis, Fischler, Rivers all checking in for Mercer. Reed, Marquise Reed, and Shelton Mitchell back in the Clemson lineup. DeVoe will check out.
A little bit of a smaller lineup for the Tigers, a 3-guard look. And this is something different from Coach Brandau. He has a deeper bench than he has had here in the previous year. Certainly has more depth at guard with Reed becoming eligible after the transfer. And Gabe DeVoe, who stepped into the starting lineup due to some injury, really played well enough to maintain his starting position. Now comes in off the bench And what Brownell has is a good situation where he has 4 or 5 guards that he is confident in and can contribute on a daily basis.
Well, there's a bad pass, and Holmes turns it over. Lewis with it out front. Gives it to the trailer. And back in the hands of Lewis. Just the second turnover, as you can see in the ball game for Clemson. So Lewis working against Holmes, gets the pick out front, takes it left side, picks up the dribble. Back out front to Jelks. Now back to Lewis. 8 on the shot clock. Drives, dumps it in the corner. Jumper on the way. No. Grantham a rebound. Mitchell. No numbers, but still going to drive it to the baseline. Outside Grantham. 3-ball. Got it. Dante Grantham. And Clemson is lighting it up from outside the arc. They are now 4 of 6 outside the arc. Actually, excuse me, make it 5 of 7.
And Grantham's averaging 10 a game, already has 9. And Holland gets back to the area to check in. They can't go without Holland on the court for too long. The Bears can't.
Jelks off the left baseline from 17. No, tipped out Chate into the hands of Mitchell, and Mitchell will pick up the foul on Lewis going by him.
Not a bad foul. Lewis coming off the bench, stops the fast break. You got to play better defense than that. You can't allow a player the caliber of Grantham to have that good of a look, because he'll make it 50% of the time, if not better.
The ball will come to the sideline right here in front of us. Holmes will trigger the inbounds pass. For Clemson, 5 of 7 in the game outside the arc, but the other basket was a 3-point play turned in by Grantham. And Clemson with a 7-point lead here at 18-11. Chate top of the key. Reed. Outside Mitchell. 3-ball. No good. Chate, the offensive board inside. Try to stick it up. Block inside and tipped away into the hands of Lewis. Nice defensive play inside by Fischler. Fischler, a big body, 7'1", only 218 pounds. Lewis, outside 3-ball. Off the back of the rim, Mitchell the long rebound. Clemson trying to run. Mitchell will feed it in the corner. Holmes catches and shoots. No. Rebound, and we get a rebounding foul. Jelks comes over the top. We'll get the rebounding foul. So Clemson leading it by 7 over Mercer. Clemson 5 of 9 outside the arc, and 1 3-point play has given them a 7-point lead here over Mercer and Littlejohn. D1 transfers kind of becoming the norm as of late. Fred Hoiberg, you remember, at Iowa State, now the head coach of the Chicago Bulls in the National Basketball Association, kind of started the trend, and both teams have loved it.
And both teams finding instant results from those transfers. We mentioned that how Rion came from the junior college, but there are big programs here. We're talking Robert Morris, a good program, Vanderbilt, a good program, South Carolina. So there's some very good D1 players transferring to D1 schools.
Gabe DeVoe, another 3. Clemson up 10, 21-11.
I just can't tell you how impressed I have been with Gabe DeVoe this year. His improvement from last year has really been terrific. He assumed that starting job, played well, and as we mentioned, he probably still should be a starter. He didn't do anything to lose the job. There's just so much talent, those transfers we talked about, that have forced him out of the lineup, at least out of the starting line.
Here's Holmes. Reed, one of those transfers from Robert Morris. Back outside Holmes. Lawson game and now to DeVoe. Reed trying to split the double team and threw it away, and actually I think they're going to get guilty of a foul on the charge and will be called for a foul.
A little bit out of control for Reed. You know, when Reed was at Robert Morris, the offense basically ran through him when he was up there for the Colonials, and a little bit different now that he's at Clemson. Isn't the focal point of the offense, but as you can see right there, he's more than willing to give it up to set up a 3.
Gabe DeVoe with Derek Wittenberg in his bloodlines. That was a Wittenberg-esque shot from outside the old NC State Wolfpacker. Here's Holland out front, buries his 3rd 3 of the game. He's got 9. And a 7-point lead for Clemson at 21-14.
You talked about how transfers now becoming part of the modern game. What we're seeing today is the Seth Curry modern game, if you will, the Klay Thompson. We're seeing guys who now find it super cool to be the guy that can knock down 3s, the guys who can knock down a lot of 3s. It's kind of replaced the dunk as being the go-to move and the go-to play in this game.
Blossom game, no from outside the arc. Mercer will come in with boy. You talk about the Golden State Warriors and what they do. They just catch it and shoot it.
And so does Holland.
Yep.
I mean, you know, it's what you see in the pros, you see in the college game, you see in the high school game, and you see the young kids at home in the backyard. Used to be you put up a trampoline and went in for a dunk like Jordan. Now kids are putting in a three-point arc and shooting like this guy.
Just good shooting motion and a lot of confidence there from Holland. The foul was on Robertson. His first and the team's fourth against Clemson. And here's Holland out front, picked up by Blossomgame, so they put the bigger player on. They give him the pick, fires the long three, no. But the ball is tipped out of bounds by Clemson. It'll stay in possession of Mercer.
Holland claimed he got hit on the elbow when he took the shot. No call.
Strawberry going to check back into the lineup. As Darius Roy will check out. Trying to lob it on the inbound, knocked away. DeVoe, Holmes, right back to Gabe DeVoe. Easy two.
DeVoe deserves the hoop. He made the play at the defensive end.
Just the second two-point basket of the afternoon for Clemson. Here's Holland firing the long three, and Robertson going to clear the boards. Reed, nowhere to go, slows it down. Jumps at the Blossomgame, driving it baseline, got knocked from behind. Jilks will pick up the foul.
That's his second, 15th foul. Number 13.
You see DeVoe on the run after making the strong defensive play, runs the floor. Simple land. Not everything needs to be a dramatic dunk. We know Gabe can throw it down if he wants to.
And we mentioned Wittenberg in his bloodlines. David Thompson also in his bloodlines.
Can you imagine what those guys would have done with the three-pointer back in the day if they had one in the 70s?
Avery Holmes gets hammered. Let's see if this is a shooting foul, and if it is it outside the arc? Raymond Styrens comes over, signals the foul is on Ryan Johnson, and it's a three-pointer. So Holmes is going to shoot three here.
The replay showed that Holmes' foot was on the line.
Let's see if they come and take a look at this. And they are going to come to the monitor and take a look.
Well, they'll see Holmes' foot on the line. He'll be shooting two.
The teams will head off to their respective benches. There you took a look at Avery Holmes. You mentioned he scored over 1,000 points now in his career. 600 of those came at San Francisco, but they gave him a commemorative ball prior to the game. And Mom's here tonight. See it?
Yeah, it's been difficult for Avery. Tough transition coming from Oregon on the West Coast, then playing in San Francisco, coming all the way across the country to play with the Tigers, but he's certainly found a home here. And you could see his foot clearly on the line when he drew the foul. And Holmes really, he's more of a, they talk about quarterbacks being, a quarterback in the NFL is just kind of a clock manager and a game manager. Avery Holmes sort of seen as sort of a game manager at that point guard position. But towards the end of last season and the beginning of this year, we're starting to see that this young man can score the basketball as well.
Holmes buries his first free throw. An excellent free throw shooter. 23 of 28, 82.1% coming into today's action.
Holland out of the lineup for Mercer, taking a quick breath. Note that it's an 11-point game. See if Tigers can make a little move to increase that lead even more with Holland out of the lineup.
So Holmes gets two. Clemson by 11. Biggest lead so far of the afternoon, 25-14. Johnson out front, hands it off to Roy. Bounce pass down low. Ringer knocked away, but picked up Roy. He'll drive to the baseline. Little floater from 8 is good.
Well, points from Roy off the bench, a bonus for the Bears. The freshman getting some playing time on the road here in the ACC, showing he belongs.
Reed outside to DeVoe. Here's Holmes, the three-pointer. No. Rebound, nice rebound inside. Good block out there by Rivers. Strawberry hands it off to Roy. Working against Reed, Clemson in man-to-man. Rivers drives into the top of the key, finds Strawberry out front with 15 on the shot clock. Strawberry, you can hear the countdown in the background from the Mercer bench. Johnson, little jumper from 16, got it. So Ryan Johnson, the sophomore from Greensboro, that's only the second two-point basket made by Mercer in this game. And they've closed it to 25-18.
Okay, nice little run there for the Bears, getting some points off the bench. Holland now over at the scorer's table, getting ready to check back in.
Blossom game and one.
If you're going to stop Blossom game, you got to stop him before he gets into the paint. Once he gets in there, he's got the long arms, he's got the moves, and the defender's in big-time trouble right about here. You got to make the stop right there. Stop wasn't made in Blossom game. 2+1.
Clemson by 9. Tiger with a couple of cheerleaders here in Littlejohn. Don Munson, Bob Mahalik. 27-18. Clemson leads it by 9. Blossom game trying to finish off a 3-point play. And he's 0 for 3 from the free throw line here this afternoon.
And 0 for 2 from three-point land, and he's really struggled a little bit with his outside game here early on in the season. Blossom game's three-pointers. He's only made 3 out of 21, so there's one man on the floor right now we know will probably be an NBA draft pick, probably a first rounder. That's Blossom game, but he's the one man who's kind of struggled in this ball game so far.
Here's a foul that would go against Shelton Mitchell. His first and the team's 5th. And that outside game, the three-point part of Deron Blossom game last year was really a big part of what he did successfully for Clemson. Strawberry out front. Work against Shelton Mitchell. Clemson staying in man-to-man. You don't see a whole lot of zone out of this Brad Brownell coach team at all. A little backdoor cut to Holland. Nice give up. Ringer working against Jete. Little left-handed hook shot. No. Rebounded inside. Johnson. No. And Shelton Mitchell. One-handed pass. Blossom game, and he'll shoot 2. What a feed from Mitchell.
Well, Shelton Mitchell has outstanding court vision. This is exactly what they thought they would get when he transferred in from Vanderbilt. They know he's a slasher. They know he can shoot, but really his best asset is the way he's able to distribute the basketball in position to score. Look at that. Terrific pass right on the hands. And Blossom game really didn't even need to put it on the floor. He could have gone straight to the rack, probably would have had a 3-point play.
So Blossom game now 1 of 4 from the free throw strike. Clemson up again by 10.
You know, a good point guard in college basketball is sort of like Tom Brady at quarterback. Oh, the dink and dunk. Yeah, but if you put the ball in the right position for the player to make the catch and then make the play instead of having to stop and make the catch, that means everything. And a good point guard will feed you in position where you never have to slow down your feet, never have to stop your momentum, and Mitchell did it on that play.
Well, you mentioned point guard being the quarterback. Shelton Mitchell wearing number 4, another number 4 for Clemson in New York City tonight for the Heisman Trophy, and Deshaun Watson.
I like his chances. I really do.
Nice little drop step move inside by Naganga. JJ Naganga, the senior from France, his first 2. And here's Blossom game the opposite way, driving it for 2. Clemson again by 11, matching their biggest lead of the afternoon. Naganga inside, got Jete out of position and then travel with it.
Bob Hoffman can't believe it. Thought there was a foul on the floor before he walked with the basketball, begging the officials for an explanation, but it's a turnover by the Bears.
Let's watch this again. 2 big bodies bumping and grinding inside. Jete kind of falls. Maybe the pivot foot there moved a little bit.
Got to let the big boys play, though, huh?
Yeah.
Hasn't been a lot of low post action. This game's been played outside the arc. Those are some big boys down there, too, huh? 6'10 and 6'11.
Jete taking the 19-footer. No. Back comes Mercer the opposite way. Lewis. Outside to Rivers. Rivers will give it off to Holland. Roy. On the baseline. Rivers working against Jete, dumps it outside. Roy the three-pointer. That was a rainbow 3. Grantham saves it underneath, and Jete comes up with it. Mitchell quickly the opposite way, tries to take it up. Little reach-in foul, and Mitchell will go to the line to shoot 2.
Well, the Bears bailed out Mitchell there. Shelton a little bit out of control, goes in against 3, and comes out of it going to the foul line. Fortunate there. There's Deron Blossom game. Dribbling with the left hand, scoring with the right hand. All ACC, potential All-American candidate for the Clemson Tigers. You mentioned all the transfers coming in. In a way, I think Coach Brownell must have felt like his best recruit was getting Blossingame back for one more year, his senior season, after Duran tested the waters in the NBA. Probably would have been a first-rounder, decides to come back and work on some aspects of his game.
2 free throws by Shelton Mitchell gives Clemson their biggest lead of the afternoon at 13, 33-20.
All right, pivotal moment here. Got to get the basketball to Holland. Didn't touch it the last 2 times down the court. Got to get him in position to shoot. Avery Holmes has done a pretty good job defensively against number 10 the last 5 or 6 minutes.
Ganga working against Jete. Picks up the dribble, flips it outside. That's too tall, and it's an over and back. Trying to flip it over to Lewis. Threw it right over top the 5'8" guard.
That's because Holland's not touching the basketball. This offense gets a little bit out of sync when number 10 isn't touching the rock.
So here comes Shelton Mitchell in the forecourt, feeding it to Avery Holmes. Mercer going man-to-man. And another just little touch foul out front against Rashad Lewis. That's his 3rd. He and Ryan Johnson both with 3 fouls here in this first half. That's also the 10th team foul, so Mitchell's going to shoot a pair.
Well, Coach Hoffman going deep into his bench and wanting his guys to be aggressive, not to give up the easy shots. He does have some fouls to give, but you don't want to give them all in the first half.
Mitchell gives Clemson a 14-point lead, and here comes Legend Robertson back into the Clemson lineup as Jete will check out. Mitchell's free throw is up, and it is good. So Shelton Mitchell, 4-4 from the line. 7 points, go along with 3 rebounds and 4 assists in this first half. Clemson, as you can see, on a 10-2 run. Strawberry got stuck and traveled with it. We tried to come to that quick stop, feet kept sliding.
Well, this year's version of the Clemson Tigers and Coach Brownell are a little more exciting. They will score around 70 points a game. A little more offensive team, but in his soul, Coach Brownell wants his team to play defense. And you have seen the last 3 trips down the court. It has been all Clemson defense, aggressive man-to-man, terrific matching up by the coaching staff, and then terrific execution. Defense has gotten him this lead right now.
Fake to Bowe, lost the handle on it, tipped away. Mitchell somehow comes back up with it. The pump fake, drives and picks up a foul.
Mercer's been playing some decent defense, but at the very end, they can't resist that urge to reach in or slap or commit the foul. There's a situation here. Let him take that shot. Let him take it. He's hanging up in the air. You made him adjust his shot by reaching in. You send him to the free throw line.
And Holmes, as we told you, a good free throw shooter, better than 82% coming in today's action. The first free throw is up and it's good. So Avery now 3 of 3 from the charity stripe. Clemson 10 of 13 as a team in the first half. Make it 11 of 14.
And Coach Hoffman just asking his staff, he said, my goodness, how many free throws have they shot? And you answered for him.
10 points in the first half for Avery Holmes. And a 17-point lead all of a sudden for Clemson. Roy trying to turn the corner left side, gives it to Holland. Drive inside, ball trying to be fed and knocked away by Mitchell, and Reed comes away with it. Reed down the lane trying to give it to Robertson. Knocked out of bounds by Mercer.
No coincidence that Clemson's lead has grown to 17th, and off the top of your head, tell me when was the last time Holland scored? Been a while.
Long
Just
time
anecdotally,
ago.
it's been a while.
Yeah.
I mean, this offense has to work through Holland, especially on the road in the ACC against a quality opponent like this. You've got Rion coming out, shooting well, feeling it, but really hasn't gotten the looks or hasn't taken the shot in the final, the last 5, 6, or 7 minutes. He's been awfully quiet.
And Holland hit those 2 early threes, has had 1 more 3 with 9 first half points. But it's been a while since we've seen him on the scoring sheet. Mitchell feeds it over to Reed, shooting better than 50% outside the arc. That one's long. Long rebound to Shelton Mitchell, and he lays it up and in. Mitchell now with 9. Mercer just 1 field goal in the last 4-10. And no points in the last 3. Trying to change that is Strawberry. No, and a follow inside by Ringer. So that breaks a little bit of a dry spell there for Mercer.
And Ringer's first points, need to get him more involved.
And Strawberry called for a foul, just coming up floor. So Shelton Mitchell getting a start here, picking up a rebound and scoring for the Clemson Tigers, who lead it 39-22. Saturday afternoon, bring the kids to Littlejohn Coliseum, let them enjoy a little basketball. And they've enjoyed what they've seen from the home team. Clemson with a 39-22 lead on Mercer. Shelton Mitchell, a big first half so far, Bob. 9 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists.
And you've seen the complete game from Shelton Mitchell today, too. He can hit it from the outside. His penetration, just got an offensive rebound, plays strong defense. I mean, this is an outstanding guard, transferred in from Vanderbilt, and he could be a difference maker for the Tigers in the ACC this year. He could be that little extra that they haven't had in the previous seasons.
Misses the first free throw. Second one is up and good. So 40-22, Clemson by 18.
See if 2-3 Rivers gets more involved for the Bears here in the offense. He scored 30 last week against a Division III opponent. Averages around 14, has 0 so far in this game. So Dimitri Rivers needs to get involved in the Bears offense soon.
And here's a travel.
And that's 3 times out of the last 4 possessions that the Bears have turned it over via the travel.
Ross Cummings, the freshman from Dixon, Tennessee, guilty of travel. Fischler will check back in. So Cummings will check out. And Mercer going a little bigger here. Got Fischler and Ringer along with Rivers all in the lineup. And they go 2-3 zone. Play the big bodies on the backside of the zone. Chete outside to Shelton Mitchell, who travels with it.
He knew it. Grimaces as he walks back down the court. So as the Bears go big, the Tigers go small with their 3 guards.
Strawberry into the forecourt. Clemson staying man-to-man. Rivers picked up there by DeVoe. In front to Ringer. Nice little fake inside, but blocked out of bounds by Chete. Little pump fake inside, got one man up, but not Chete.
Well, you're in trouble when you could fake out 6'9" Jerron Blossingame, think you got him beat, and then coming up behind him, well, there's a 7-footer. And Chete, one of the premier shot blockers in the ACC, adds to his resume.
And Chete be guilty of a forearm shiver there. Picks up a foul. That's his second.
It's been fun watching him develop as a basketball player here in Clemson, hasn't it, Chete?
Oh, he was a guy now last year with Landry Noko, of course, that played at center for Clemson. Didn't get that many minutes, only about 8 to 10 minutes a game, but they felt like during the offseason that his game was just consistently developing. They obviously loving what they see right now, averaging almost a double-double. Try to feed it inside to Ringer. Clemson with the steal. Here's Mitchell driving it right at the big man Fischler. Can't get it. Strawberry the opposite way.
Mercer right now has 9 turnovers, 1 assist.
Ringer inside. No, Grantham got a hand on it, knocked it to Reed. Blossingame one-on-one against Strawberry. Advantage All-American. And Clemson by 20. Ringer out front. Hands it off to Rivers. DeVoe steps in the passing lane, comes up with a steal, and he's going to be fouled by Holland.
More turnovers. That's number 11 turnover-wise for the Mercer Bears here in Jerron Blossingame. He can be a little intimidating. You know, Rivers, too, getting a little bit frustrated as well. When that doesn't happen offensively, you can start to force it a little bit, make some mistakes on defense. And, you know, number 5 has something to do with this, too, as he's put pressure on Rivers the whole game. And DeVoe will go to the line. It's been a very solid performance from Clemson. You know, they beat up on Coppin State in this building 6 days ago. Coppin State 0-9 coming in, so you take it with a grain of salt. But we thought that Clemson played a very solid basketball game. They did mentally. They were totally focused. They got the job done. Never let Coppin State in the game. Well, this is a step up in competition, and I think they're playing even better today than they did 6 days ago against Coppin.
I would agree with you. Going to end a 5-game homestand are the Tigers against South Carolina State in a midweek game coming up.
Well, the Bears and the Tigers have a common opponent. It's Davidson, who Clemson beat by a lot, and then Davidson beat Mercer by a lot. So if you put that together, it should be Clemson by a lot over Mercer, and right now that's exactly what's happening.
DeVoe comes up with a deflection, lobbed at the Blossom game and off the window and good. And Clemson leading it 46-22.
About 10 minutes ago, Blossom game was sitting there with a bunch of zeros on his scorecard. Now he's lit it up in the last 4 minutes.
Got 10 points. Holland with a little leaner inside. No, but drew the foul on DeVoe, and Holland will shoot it. Oh no, they're going to call that on. They're going to call that on Holland.
An offensive foul on Holland. Here's a look at the alley-oop. Doesn't have to be a dunk. Blossom game with the good hands to put it in. Oh, that was a tough call against Holland on the previous trip down there. Again, hasn't scored in about 8 or 9 minutes, forcing it a little bit, but a tough bang-bang call goes against the Bears, and that counts as basically another turnover.
DeVoe goes baseline, dumps it in the corner. Grantham, yes! Grantham's third three-pointer of the first half. He's got 12. And Clemson on a 12-0 run. Rivers looking for his first points of the half. Gets them outside the arc.
You know, Rivers playing with maybe a little bit of pressure here in his home state. He's from Stratford High School down in the low country of South Carolina from Charleston. Was one of the premier players of the state high school-wise a couple of years ago. Getting a chance to play in the Palmetto State. Gets his first bucket. He'll need more. He'll need a lot more in the second half to help spur a comeback.
49-25, under 10 seconds to go. Mitchell stops in the free throw line, try the backdoor cut to Reed. He'll turn and fire from 14, shot at 13. Fisher the rebound, and off to the locker rooms will go. But a big first half for the Clemson Tigers as they lead Mercer by 24, 49-25, as Clemson held Mercer to just 7 points in the last 8 minutes and 10 seconds of the half. Balls have been raining outside the arc. Halftime coming up. 49-25, Clemson over Wofford here at halftime. Don Munson, Bob Mahalik along with you. Shooting kind of been the story really for both teams in that first half.
Yeah, the Clemson Tigers didn't play a perfect game, but they almost did. I mean, they're shooting better than 50%. They've only turned the ball over 4 times. They're out rebounding Mercer. They are doing everything right. Mercer got off to a great start, but cooled off after that.
All right, I think we got some highlights to take a look at here from the first half of play.
The outside game is where the Bears will live and die. And Holland got off the bus shooting and looked terrific. He has 9 points, all of them coming from three-point land. And they started out 3 of 6 from the floor. But after that, things have gone downhill for the Bears. Not enough of that down low. Holland is the only player with more than 3 points. He has 9. Everybody else has 3 or 2. So it's been a balanced attack for Mercer, but in a bad way. Nobody's been really to step it up and create a lot of offense.
Clemson, however, has been shooting the ball well, and they shot the ball well for the entire 20 minutes of the first half.
Yeah, 7 of 14 from outside the arc, and they've got their guards involved, they got the forwards involved. Grantham's hit several three-pointers, and then when Blossomgame gets his game going down low, there's just no stopping him on the penetration. He's gone to the line a couple of times, creating his own shots. And, of course, a little alley-oop never hurts. Jerron Blossomgame after a slow start. He has 10 points, so a very balanced Tiger team and a very, very strong performance for this Clemson team.
Upcoming schedule for the Bears, you'll see they will travel to SEC foe Auburn, then get LaSalle at home, and then 3 straight road games. Kennesaw State, Wofford, and Furman for the Bears coming up. And for Clemson, we mentioned this is kind of in the middle of a 5-game homestand. They'll wrap it up against South Carolina State, then back-to-back games against the SEC at Alabama, at South Carolina, home to UNC Wilmington, and then the ACC opener on the 31st of December against Wake Forest.
I think it's a very important part of the schedule for Clemson. So far, they've taken care of business here in this home game, in this home stretch, this 5 straight games at home. The game at Alabama is one they will be favored at. But the game against South Carolina, depending on who's in their lineup or not, becomes a very pivotal basketball game, I believe. You know, it's hard for Clemson folks to say, hey, I'm glad the folks in Columbia are playing well. But it does help Clemson for strength of schedule ways. So if the Clemson Tigers can go down there and knock off a South Carolina team that's now ranked in the top 25, that adds to their resume, a resume that is pretty solid at the moment because they have avoided the one thing they're doing today, and that is the bad loss.
Well, and as we saw last year with this Clemson team, they won 10 games in the Atlantic Coast Conference and didn't make any postseason play, and it was because of the non-conference schedule. They struggled in the non-conference, so you're right. Those games still coming up in the month of December out of conference are huge for Brad Brownell.
Sure, and that Davidson win at the end of the year is going to be a quality win for sure for Clemson. I believe Davidson, the Tigers handled well down in Orlando. Davidson will be an NCAA tournament team. That will look good on the resume. They need to add a few more. Need to add Alabama. Need to add South Carolina.
Mitchell gives it to Grantham. Dumping it low. Blossom game with 7 on the shot clock. Skip past Holmes. Holmes taking it left baseline with 3 on the shot clock. Got to figure out where he is. Gives it a Blossom game. The 3 is short. Didn't hit anything. And a shot clock violation to start the second half for Clemson.
Well, we talked about how this was exam week for the Tigers, and we wonder if they'd be a little bit sluggish. They've obviously been a little distracted this week, haven't played in 6 days. They came out and played extremely well in the first 4 minutes of the first half. We'll see if they can match that energy here in the second half with this big lead. Up to Coach Brownell to make sure his guys are focused and ready to go to play 20 minutes more of basketball, because as we've seen, if Holland gets going, number 10 for Mercer, he can tighten this game up in a hurry.
Jelks out front to Rivers. Here's Strawberry with it, working against Shelton Mitchell. Off the pick, goes baseline. Gets picked up by Grantham, gets stuck, fades and fires. No. Rebound inside, stick back. No, and Jete cleans it up.
Oh, Ringer's got to go strong. That was dunkable.
Mitchell gives it off to Grantham, right back to Shelton Mitchell. Now here's Blossom game. Have the smaller Strawberry on him, trying to back him in, trying to flip it inside. Jete knocked loose, picked up by Strawberry.
Holland made the steal.
Man-to-man pressure by Clemson. Holland will give it up to Rivers. Bounce pass down low. Get in the hands of Jelks, trying to work against Blossom game, and will pick up the foul.
And that's one thing Mercer can do down low, is put a little pressure on Blossom game, wearing out a little bit defensively.
Grantham had 12 points in the first half, Bob, and he did a lot of it outside the arc, but that nice move right there turned into a three-point play for him.
Grantham has the range, certainly can shoot the 3.
Rivers from 16 shoots at 15, and Mitchell with the rebound. Mitchell going to drive left side, takes it strong, no foul call. The ball will go out of bounds and belong to Clemson. Boy, that looked like a lot of contact there. No whistle. And good block though. Actually, Ringer did a nice job getting a hand on that ball. Shelton Mitchell. Avery Holmes with 10 on the shot clock. Here's Grantham. Bounce pass inside. Jete. Little drop step, left-handed hook is good.
Great job of taking what's available. When Mercer sits in that 2-3 zone, Jete has the ability to get position about 5 or 6 feet away from the basketball, and a good entry pass.
First 2 points of the afternoon for City Jete. Holland. Outside. Jelks will hand it off to Strawberry. Right back to Holland. He'll fire that 3 ball. No good. Grantham cleans the glass. And the big 6'8" forward will bring it up floor. Dumps it to Blossom game off the window. And yes, Blossom game now with a dozen. And Clemson lead will grow to 53-25.
And the assist to Grantham, able to run the floor, stay in control.
Strawberry. Holland. Thought about the 3, gets it right back to Strawberry.
Strawberry can heat it up too. He had 24 against George Mason, so when he gets it going from the outside, he has the ability to make some runs.
Strawberry looking inside, looking for Ringer, going to get an over the back. That'll go against Jete. That'll be his 3rd.
Well, here you see the Clemson offense working against that zone defense. Jete down low, spinning and moving, and then on the run, Grantham avoids the charge, gets it off the Blossom game, who's able to finish.
Robertson will check in as Jete will go to the bench with the 3 personal fouls. Rivers off the inbound, off the glass and good.
Good design play, executed perfectly.
53-27. Mitchell in the forecourt. Holmes with it. Takes to the left high post, dumps it in the corner. Grantham driving it. Dante Grantham with authority.
There is no defending that. Oh, arms and legs coming flying at you. And what happens is when you shoot from the outside, the defender has to worry about stopping the three, and that creates penetration opportunities, and Dante takes advantage.
Goaltending call against Roberton. Credit the basket to Mercer. 55-29.
It's an exciting basketball team this year to watch at Clemson Tigers. Yeah. They've got lots of skill, Blossom game. Grantham, as you just saw, plenty of good guard play. They can shoot the three. They can play up-tempo. They can defend you. Very entertaining brand of basketball from the Tigers this year.
Mitchell dumps it at Grantham. 3-ball. Yes! Dante Grantham. The last 5 points for Clemson. And they're up 29. They've doubled up Mercer at 58-29.
And you may be witnessing Dante Grantham's finest game as a Clemson Tiger in his 69th start.
Holland for three. He'll strip the net.
And Holland went over top of Grantham there.
58-32. Holmes in the forecourt controls. Feeds it to Mitchell. Grantham feeling it, firing it. A little long. Roberton trying to keep the ball alive on the floor. It's loose. Scramble for it. Roberton gets it in the hands of Holmes. The big going to the floor. Mitchell outside three. In and out. Back and in.
Mitchell for three.
Everything going down for Clemson outside the arc, as the Tigers are now 9 of 18.
The Tigers have matched the intensity that they had at the beginning of the game here at the beginning of the second half, keeping Mercer at bay.
Rivers' 3-ball was short, but it was picked off by Jelks, and he lays it up and in. Mitchell will hand it off to Grantham. Here's Holmes with it now, against the zone pressure of Mercer. Holmes' little ball fake. Back outside to Mitchell. 9 on the shot clock. Avery Holmes, crossover, drives, left-handed shot, no. Holmes gets his own rebound and comes to the left wing with it on the dribble. Blossom game fading and firing from 12, no, but drew the foul, and he'll go to the line and shoot a couple. So Clemson picking up right where they left off in the first half, leading it 61-34. Dante Grantham with authority. Back here in Littlejohn Coliseum, 61-34, make it 62-34. Clemson, as Jerron Blossom game gets his 13th point of the afternoon. Don Munson, Bob Mahalik with you. 14-11 left here in this Saturday afternoon affair. Blossom game hits 2. Gabe DeVoe will check in.
And Blossom game checks out. Hope you were with us at halftime and you saw the multi-talented Jerron Blossom game with an outstanding presentation, the tour of new Littlejohn Coliseum. You know, Jerron's already graduated, got a degree in sociology, but we wish him a long, prosperous NBA career because he may find his way to the booth. He's pretty good in front of that camera, huh?
Here's Holland for 3. No. Mitchell comes away with a rebound.
We talk about it a lot, but Blossom game's the type of young man you want representing your university, just like the young man that's in New York City tonight for the Clemson Tigers.
An illegal pick that's called on Shelton Mitchell.
That's his
second foul against Shelton. The team's third against Clemson in this half.
Not a whole lot there.
Holland in the forecourt on the wing. Picked up by Reed. There's a little man-to-man pressure. Lewis out front, head fakes, draws a foul.
Mitchell again.
Yep. There's 3 and team 4.
Fourth team foul on the Tigers.
And give Mitchell credit, too. This is only his 4th game with the Tigers in his 2nd start, but yet if you watch him play in this ballgame, it looks like he's been there forever. The chemistry is already there with this Clemson unit.
Had a great offseason and then tore a meniscus just before the season opened. Missed about 3 or 4 weeks. DeVoe goes for the steal off of the inbound. But Kilby comes away with it. Here's Lewis, the outside 3. No. Rebounded inside, pulled down by the Bears. Shot blocked by Robertson. Kilby comes back down with it and lays it up and in.
How about Kilby? He has more games in which he hasn't played than he has played, but down big on the road. Coach Holloman goes to the bench. Coach Hoppin and finds Kilby. Maybe he can give him a spark.
Grantham. DeVoe off the baseline. No. Lewis with the rebound.
DeVoe's first miss of the game.
Holland on the dribble. Brings it out front between the circles. Keeps the dribble alive. Gets a pick. Dumps it off left wing. Jump hook inside. No. And Robertson claims the rebound.
You know, I mentioned how the Mercer offense is a little complicated. Coach Bob has a lot of play calls that he likes to throw out there on the floor. I think right now I just say, here's the idea. Everybody pick for number 10 and let number 10 shoot the basketball from outside the arc.
Let him carry, little pick and roll.
Here's Reed. Struggled a little bit for the Tigers today. Turns it over there, traveling.
Reed will check out the lineup as you take a look there at Jelks. And now over to the Mercer bench. Jelks will inbound. Rashad Lewis, the junior from Valdosta, Georgia, into the forecourt. Picked up by Avery Holmes, who checked the ball game there for Reed. Blossom game on the switch, picks up the smaller Lewis. And give it to Kilby, he'll drive. Robertson was there standing tall to disrupt the shot. Here's DeVoe. Holmes, a spot up 3, long. Rebound Lewis. Lewis trying to drive, and he'll pick up a foul. Foul call inside will be against Gabe DeVoe. Clemson up 63-36 as we go up the break. Back in Littlejohn, that man Avery Holmes now has played in 101 games. And guess what? Scored 1,000 points in his career. They recognized him prior to the game, Bob.
He got that 1,000 plateau against Coppin State 6 days ago. Gets a commemorative basketball from Coach Burnell. He's added to that total today with 10. And just as importantly, he's played some outstanding defense in this game as well, as he has slowed down the sharpshooter for the Bears, Holland. Holland has only 12.
Inbounds pass will come to Rivers. He'll fire the 3. No, and Holmes grabs the rebound for Clemson. See Clemson 9 of 19 outside the arc. Mercer just 6 of 20. DeVoe, 3 ball. Make it 10 of 20 for Clemson outside the arc.
Tigers have a lot of weapons. They have depth. They've got that 4-guard rotation. Marcus Reed struggled a little bit in this ball game. He's on the bench. And the timeout, Coach Burnell was spending some time with his transfer, trying to talk him through some things. In the meantime, DeVoe gets back in the lineup. Just can't miss.
Oh, and DeVoe ran right over Lewis. And let's hope Lewis is all right. I mean, that was a big-time collision. Lewis picks himself up. Fine. Boy, I tell you what, Lewis took the full brunt of that.
And gets called for the foul.
Yep. Well, we mentioned bloodlines with Gabe DeVoe. Right, we mentioned Wittenberg. We mentioned David Thompson. One other in the bloodlines, Alvin Gentry, the head coach of the Pelicans, also in his bloodlines.
So you're saying basketball and that family sort of go together?
Yes, they do.
Point made.
DeVoe, a long-range 3, short, but that's the one you follow. Blossom game with the tip dunk. (68-36). Kilby. Holland, guarded by Blossom game, will give it up. Jelks looking inside. Holland shot blocked by Robertson. Mercer looking for the goaltending and didn't get it. DeVoe, Blossom game. Holmes off the ball fake, gives it to DeVoe. He's going to drive, storm the hole, shot blocked, comes back down with it. We get a jump ball. They rule this a jump ball, and so alternate possession will give it to Mercer.
Good interior defense from the Mercer Bears. Blocking, basically getting 2 blocks on DeVoe in 1 possession.
So Holland into the forecourt.
By the way, nice crowd here for a Saturday afternoon with the students not on campus.
Yep. Exams wrapped up last week. Ball knocked loose and it goes off of Clemson, out of bounds.
A lot of excitement around this Clemson basketball program. New Littlejohn, which certainly adds to the atmosphere. But this may be the most talented team that the Clemson Tigers have put on the floor in really 10 years. They've got the big guys like this that can do the blocking. I mean, he just took that out of the sky. That wasn't even a block. He was up there like he was picking an apple and brought it right back down.
He's been on its way down. Robertson again affects the shot, no good. Tipped out. Strawberry from 16, no. Holmes battling inside. Still a loose ball in the paint. Picked up Blossom game. He's tied up by Strawberry. Alternate possession will give it back over to Clemson. And now both teams come rushing to the defense of their respective player.
More preventative than anything. It happened right in front of us. No sort of altercation at all.
I don't think there's anything big that happened there.
You know, people of our age, let's just say it that way, Don, they probably think it's pretty cool that, hey, Darryl Strawberry's son is playing basketball and we're watching him.
Yep.
I wonder if the players, other than Google, really know how good of a baseball player his dad, Darryl Strawberry, was, or what a kind of a neat experience this is to see the young man of one of the premier athletes in the country playing at this kind of level.
Avery's 3 ball is long. Robertson can't come back with a follow dunk, but he got fouled. And he'll go to the line to shoot 2. Foul on Fischler.
That's his first.
You know, Robertson gets to go up against a 7-footer every day at practice. And so Robertson's used to having big fellows like that around, so he's not afraid to go up and try and throw it down, draw the foul. And I think that's where Robertson's going to get better. Playing time certainly helps, but I think practice time this year, especially in the final year of Jeté being there, will really help Robertson improve to make him a Tiger that really can give them some quality minutes down the stretch here in the ACC, but also next year.
Robertson makes only his 2nd free throw of the year. He was 1 of 5 coming in today's action from the line. You know, we mentioned a lot about transfers, too. Clemson's got one more transfer that's not yet eligible. He will be, though, here pretty soon, and Elijah Thomas, the transfer from Texas A&M. And he'll add another big body up front.
Yeah, a whole lot of size down low, and he transferred from Texas A&M, but keep in mind, he never really played for the Aggies, but he was maybe the #1 recruit in the big state of Texas. All the big schools in the Texas area, the Big 12, wanted him. He is now a Clemson Tiger. You'll see him in a week or so, and he will certainly be a part of that rotation down low for the Tigers, and really could quickly become a focal point of the offense and the defense.
I think I heard Brad Brownell talk about probably the Alabama game. I think that the Alabama game is where we'll get our first look at Elijah Thomas.
So we'll have 3 games to get ready for ACC play.
Shelton Mitchell outside Marquise Reed. Blossom game will feed it to Robertson. Back outside to Mitchell with 7 on the shot clock. Crossover. Blossom game catches and fires. It's going to be short. Rebounded inside Ringer. And again, Blossom game struggling from outside the arc. Only 3 made 3-pointers on the season coming into today's action. Just 3 of 21 outside the arc. You know, there's a foul or got a foul called inside against Ringer.
And legal screen. You know, talking about Blossom game shooting the 3-pointers. I was watching him in the pregame warm-ups, and he was standing outside the arc shooting a lot of threes. Every time he made one, he gave a little fist pump, like you do when you drain your 15 and 20-footers, one of those Tiger Woods little fist pumps. But you could tell he was deliberately using that pregame to work on what has been a little bit of a weakness, shooting that 3. And I seldom see someone give themselves a fist pump or a pep talk during pregame, but he was doing it, working on that 3. That's about the only thing that hasn't been an 8+ for Blossom game this season.
Yeah, well, Tiger doesn't have to use that Nike putter anymore, so he may be giving that fist pump more often now that he's back. Marquise Reed with the jumper off the right wing, makes it 71-36.
Coach Burnell will love that, because Burnell and Reed had a long conversation after Reed was taken out of the game about 4 minutes ago when he turned the basketball over. He wants Reed to get focused, play the team game, get back out there and show him that he can get it done. And he did. That's a very important little basket, a very important little thing that happens in the middle of a basketball game, that a player shows a coach that he can indeed be trusted.
Reed picks up his second personal foul, the 6th against Clemson of the half. Ball will go baseline. Lewis will inbound to Jelks, who gives it off in the corner. Jumper for 3 from Lewis, no, and a rebounding foul inside. That'll go against Mercer. And that'll also lead us to a break. So Clemson in firm control. Blossom game, the rebound dunk for the Clemson Tigers. And Clemson at home leading at 71-36. Families enjoying their time here at Littlejohn Coliseum this Saturday afternoon. Home team up on Mercer 71-36. Bob, we mentioned that Mercer has not lost to an ACC team since December of 2010. Well, obviously that's going to change, and one of the reasons it's going to change is because of that. No made shots in the last 5:20. They've had a couple of scoring droughts in this game.
That would be the complete opposite of what Mercer needed to see happen here in the second half. They needed to run early to get back into the game. Instead, they've gone in reverse.
Reed, the outside 3, got it.
And Reed keeps responding. Before the break, he's the one that had the rebound that forced the foul by the Bears. So Reed has responded to Coach Brownell and has played well here in the second half. Everybody's playing well for the Tigers.
Clemson 11 of 24 outside the 3-point arc. Reed with 5 points in the ball game. Here's Lewis for 3. No. Shelton Mitchell the rebound and is fouled inside by Ryan Johnson. Look, that's his 4th.
The Tigers' last 2 games have been against Coppin State, winless, 0-9, and now a Mercer team 5-4. We know they're a threat, but they're probably middle of the pack team in the SoCon. So you go, oh well, Clemson should win these ball games. Yes, they should, but it's the way they have won and are winning the games. They've played strong. They haven't turned the ball over as much. They're hitting from the outside. They're playing aggressively. They're playing with focus and determination. Quite frankly, they have just looked very good, and that's why instead of just winning the games, they have won by large margins.
Ryan Johnson just picks up his 5th personal foul. Fouls out of the ball game with 7:13 to go in the contest. So Johnson will head off the bench. Only 2 points, 2 rebounds in just 8 minutes of action. So Jeté will go to the line.
Mitchell comes out of the game, started for the Tigers, 2nd start for him this season. Probably won't return to the game, played solidly, 13 points, 3 of 6 from the floor.
Ty Hudson checks into the ball game. Hudson making his 3rd appearance this year for Clemson.
Sorry, Don. Mitchell goes to the bench as the team's leading rebounder with 6.
Jelks inside off the glass. No, Jeté bounding it around, trying to keep it alive, and he must have stepped on the end line as he was chasing it down, and ball will go back to Mercer. That's one thing about the big in Jeté. Love the hustle out of that man. As you take a look, as Naganga will get back in for Mercer. They'll inbound it to the big man. He'll get pressured by Hudson. Now Jeté will pick him up and will get called for the body up on him.
Seen pretty quick whistles down low tonight. They've been consistent, steady. They're not going to put up with too much banging down low. That's 4.
So J.J. Naganga at the line with a 1-on-1 opportunity at the 6:50 mark. Rebounded by Clemson. A team rebound effort there as Valley Reed comes away with it. Had to wrestle away from a couple of his teammates. Hudson to Grantham. Back outside to Hudson. Bounce pass to DeVoe on the cut. Try to spin inside. Get it outside to Grantham. Ball fake. Puts it on the floor. Drives. Reed. Step in jumper. No. Rebounded by Jelks. Lewis right back to Jelks. Outside 3 ball on the way. Short, no good. Offside rebound to Reed. 4 on three. Reed trying to drive it inside, and Jelks rejects that action. Strawberry and Rivers will check back in for Mercer. You saw the rejection inside.
Looks like the ball was slipping out of the hands of Reed before the block.
Reed on the left wing. Back outside, DeVoe. Here's Grantham. Gives it to Reed in the paint. He'll fade and fire. No. Rebound foul inside. And that's going to go against Mercer. You get Naganga. J.J. Naganga.
Foul on the floor, but we're in the bonus, and so Jete will go to the line.
It's his first, the team's 8th. Take a look there. Corey Kilby checking out. And there is Sidi Jete. Free throw on the way, good. Jete not a bad free throw shooter on the year. Coming in to today's action was 22 of 32, 68.8%. Second free throw is good. So for Jete, just the 3rd and 4th points of the afternoon for him to go along with 5 rebounds. Came in today's action averaging almost a double-double. 9.3 points and 10.4 rebounds. Reed sticks his hand in there trying to dig one out and creates a turnover. Last touched by Darius Roy. This is just good defense here, Bob.
Good help defense, too. As Reed comes off of his man, sees an opportunity to get the steal. Tiger basketball.
Ty Hudson into the forecourt, feeds it off to Reed, now to Grantham. DeVoe, little ball fake, drives, goes for the reverse layup, no, battles inside, ball loose. Jete picks it up, finds Hudson, spotting up for 3, got it. Ty Hudson. He is now 2 of 4 this season outside the arc. And it's 79-36 and a timeout called by Mercer. So with 4:58 left in the contest, Clemson up comfortably, 79-36. Back in Littlejohn, 79-36. Clemson with the lead on Mercer. Clemson with 12 made three-pointers in today's game. The last one by Ty Hudson.
Ty Hudson sitting on the bench watching the Tigers knock down threes. Gets some playing time here in the second half. Immediately sights it and shoots it. 6 different Tigers with three-pointers.
And freshman Scott Spencer into the Clemson lineup. That's him, number 22, out there on the ball defending. Here's Lewis with 7 on the shot clock. He'll take the 3 and bury it over Hudson.
Now we came into this game expecting Holland, the talented guard for Mercer, to be chucking up a bunch of threes. He's been on the bench most of the second half. We mentioned he sat out against Oglethorpe a couple of nights ago in a Mercer win, nursing some injuries. This game's out of hand. No reason for him to be in the lineup because you know they'll need number 10 as they draw towards their SoCon season. So they're trying to keep him healthy. But it's kind of disappointing. Was hoping to see Holland launching it from outside the arc all game long.
Grantham, the floater, no. Followed it, no, and stays with it and finally draws the foul. Go to the line to shoot a couple here as they get the foul inside that goes against Ross Cummings. That'll be his first. Ninth team foul against Mercer. This is just good hustle by Grantham. 17 points on the afternoon. Career high earlier this year against Xavier where he scored 21. It was in a tournament game that was played in Orlando. Grantham now with 18 points on the afternoon.
Yeah, that trip to Orlando started out with the win over Davidson, a quality win over Davidson, and now I'm going to do something live that I probably shouldn't do, and that's math. Because the Tigers beat Davidson by 17. Davidson beat Mercer by 21, so coming in, we kind of joked that, well, I guess that means the Tigers should be 38-point favorites. Turns out, numbers don't lie.
Numbers don't lie. Clemson up 42 at 81-39.
Don't check my math. Just go with it.
Just go with it. Here's Lewis again, the 3-ball outside, and again burying it. So Lewis with back-to-back threes. He's got 6, 81-42.
You know, Grantham, we mentioned having a career-looking game. If the Tigers needed him, he would have gotten 20-plus because he would have been the guy they go to. But with having this big lead, the offense hasn't had a run through Grantham. So he's not going to probably get his career high. He'll probably take a seat and enjoy the rest of the game, but certainly an outstanding performance from Grantham.
So Lewis, the outside 3, he's got 6, but Mercer down big to Clemson, 81-42. The young father doing his thing, getting the child out of the house for the day. Let mom do her thing on a Saturday. Don Munson, Bob Mahalik with you, 81-42. Clemson the lead on Mercer.
Is that what
will be at the line to shoot too.
Is that what our wives are doing today? Why don't you go out and watch the basketball game? Leave us alone.
No, I don't think so.
They're home watching,
but it's a good try. It's a good try. Jete hits the first free throw. He's now made 3 in a row from the charity stripe. Obviously, earlier this week we celebrated didn't really celebrate, but had the remembrance of the 75th anniversary of the bombing of Pearl Harbor. It was that bombing that actually shut down the Mercer football program in 1941, and Mercer wasn't the only one that kind of going into World War II with the U.S. entry into World War II shut down their football program. Of course, Mercer has now started it back up again. They did that about 4 years ago. Bobby Lamb, the head coach now at Mercer.
Yeah, former Furman head coach.
And remarkably so, try to lob it inside, looking for jokes off the backboard, and DeVoe comes to it. But Clemson and Mercer with football in their pedigree, as well as DeVoe buries the outside 3. Mercer leading the all-time in football 4-3 over Clemson. The teams first met back in 1910. Played for 4 consecutive years in 10, 11, 12, and 13. Mercer winning 2 and Clemson winning 2.
Well-rounded broadcast. We did a little bit of math earlier, now some history.
Yeah. All we're missing is science. We'll have it covered.
We're going to have to find another member of the broadcast crew for that. Well, here we go. Let's talk about energy and force. There's a block of the basketball by Robertson, sending the energy in the opposite direction. I don't know. I watch those shows with the kids. I should figure that out.
Force resistance equals energy. Lewis drives at the free throw line and backs it out. Off-ball foul.
Well, how about this? I like the chemistry of this year's Clemson Tigers. And it is outstanding chemistry. And it has happened rather quickly. A lot of new faces on the Clemson roster, and they've blended in nicely. And this is a team that is poised right now to finish off a solid non-conference season that they have to have. When you look back at this season, about a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks ago in the ACC Big Ten Challenge, the Tigers were on the ropes against Nebraska. They did not play their best game. The Tigers did not. And yet, down the stretch, playing some strong defense, were able to hold off the Huskers and not only win the game, but win the ACC Challenge for the ACC. And I think in hindsight, that win is going to go a long way for the Clemson Tigers.
Fischler buries 2 from the free throw line, the big 7'1" redshirt senior. Make it 86-44. Clemson in the forecourt. Riley Gilling in the ball game now.
Second straight game.
We got some action last time out for the Tigers. Spencer driving it, finger roll layup good. 88-44, Clemson by 44 with 2:28 left.
10 Tigers have now scored in this basketball game.
Cummings outside 3, Robertson the rebound, hands it off to Hudson. Spencer, travel with it. Oh no, they just stop as Robertson comes up limping. So Robertson going to head to the bench, may have turned an ankle, and that'll get Lyles Davis, a sophomore from Charleston, South Carolina in. Do you see this young freshman, Scott Spencer, driving at baseline for 2?
And one of the first things they teach you, do not give up the baseline. Mercer gave up the baseline. Spencer exploited it.
McGillen, he'll take the outside 3. No! Reed with an easy follow 2. And it's 90-44 in favor of Clemson. Clemson's highest offensive output this year was 95 against Davison. Kilby in traffic. No. Battle for the rebound. Davis in there scrapping for it. Cummings comes up with it. And I think that Reed was also battling and must have been stepping on the sideline while he was touching the basketball, so it'll stay with Mercer with 1:38 left. And we'll also get another sub in as Isaac Fields, the freshman guard, out of Kentucky, will check in. Reed will go out. We want to reward these guys who work hard in practice, and there's a steal. Davis tried to go behind the back. Spencer picks it up, floats it up, no. Rebound Cummings.
I mean, Davis tried to go behind the back. That was a beautiful pass. They've been working on that at practice. That's what he meant to do, to give it to his buddy Spencer.
Dad Richard in Charleston. I don't know if he's here at the game or maybe watching this online. Outside three ball is going to be short, no good. Roy with a rebound inside, stick back, no, but drew the foul to go to the line and shoot two. You know, we have the good job here sitting at the desk and calling the game. Cameramen, not so much. Right into your living room or right into your lap.
Well, that basketball sometimes is less intimidating than the 6'10", 245-pound center that sometimes wind up in the lap of the end zone cameraman.
What must it have been like with guys like Shaquille O'Neal coming at you? 7'2" and close to 350.
And you know what? Our cameramen and camerawomen always take the charge. They never reach, never block. Always the charge, always holding the ground.
Davis the rebound off the missed free throw. 1:05 left in the ball game. Spencer, the crossover, pulls up short. Rebound Lewis with a minute to go. Kilby dumping it inside. Fischler trying to feed it, goes to the corner. Chase down, Cummings saves it to Lewis. Outside three. Long. Kilby kept it alive, and Roy sticks it back up and in. 90-47. McGillen. Davis. Spencer out front. McGillen. Finds Davis. Davis trying to drive, and he'll pick up the foul. He'll go to the line and shoot a couple of free throws. Fouls on Lewis. That's his fifth. So Lyles Davis will go to the line, shoot a couple.
Had two last weekend against Coppin State. You know, Davis, I think, has a fun job, if you will. He is the opposing team's, the scout team's point guard at practice. And that's usually a lot of fun because that meant this week he got to be Holland, which meant he probably shot more three-pointers in practice this week than he has in his entire career.
Lefty's first free throw is no good. Lyles was a guy that went to James Island Charter High School in Charleston and was a three-time team captain on that basketball team. This is a pair. Roy the crossover, the runner. No. Rebound inside. Davis claims the rebound. He'll flip it over to Ty Hudson with two with one. And Clemson, in impressive fashion, dispatches Mercer here this afternoon. Our final, Clemson 90 and Mercer 47.
But Don, it's quite simple. Clemson should beat Mercer at home every year. But it's not just that they won the basketball game, which they did. It's the way they did it. For the second straight game, they played nearly flawless basketball, shooting well from outside the arc. The three-pointer, 7 of 14 from outside the arc in the first half. They played strong defense. Everybody contributed. The bench played well. A solid overall performance for the Tigers as they are rolling, trying to make it 5 for 5 in this home stretch.
Well, Mercer came in with upset on their mind. Hadn't lost to an ACC opponent since December of 2010. That streak ended here this afternoon. Clemson victorious over Mercer, 90-47. For Bob Mahalik, I'm Don Munson. Thanks for being with us.